Hey, welcome back everybody. My name is Agent Psycho and we're gonna get started on the 49th chapter of the Exploring the Arsenal series featuring me, Agent Psycho, aka Toes number 98. And this time we're going to be taking a look at the very popular submachine gun family called the PP19, the Bizon PP19. This is a Russian submachine gun and it has been around combat arms for quite some time. And yeah, let's get started on the PP19 review. So now a little bit of background information on the PP19 as it pertains to combat arms. It is unlocked at the rank of Command Sergeant Major 1, I believe. Just let me make sure. Yep, it is unlocked at Command Sergeant Major 1, and it used to cost 1200 GP a day, but because Nexon was a bitch and they took out the one-day sales, it is now 5850 GP for a week. So there you go. So now let's get into the statistics of the PP19. Before we do that, actually, just a general overview of the PP19. The PP19 is a highly effective submachine gun at close quarters, especially in one-man army junk fleet, because of its high ammo capacity and its relatively high damage, or DPS, I should say. Mainly though, its strength lies within its very large 65 round magazine. Yes, ammo is a very big factor in the PP19 strength. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the statistics of the PP19. The PP19 sports a 35 damage, which is the same as the VP Broppy LPO2. So in terms of damage, it shouldn't be too bad, but I have a little bit of a problem with the damage on the PP19, amazingly enough. The damage, it feels, because it has a 35, I don't know if it's because of the fact that it has a 35 damage rating, but because I've used the VB Broppy LPO2 a lot back in the day when it first came out, I just can't help but compare the two in that they both seem to, you know, take a bit of time to put people down at, especially at middle range. At close range, it doesn't matter because I mean it's close range. There's only so many bullets you can put into someone before they fall down, before you knock them down. But at middle range, especially at long range, in terms of submachine guns, as far as submachine guns go, it feels like the PP19 could use a little bit of work on the damage front. Why I say this is because I just felt like people aren't just going down fast enough whenever I'm spraying at them at middle range or you know, further away than middle range, but not exactly long range. So just do keep in mind that the PP19 may not exactly finish people off very well at ranges beyond, you know, standard submachine gun range or close quarters range for that matter. But as long as you stick to CQC with your PP19, you should be fine on the damage front. As with the damage drop-off, because it is a machine gun, the damage drop-off is pretty severe. I don't recommend you using it obviously for ranges longer than, you know, middle range, because obviously damage is you're not gonna be able to deal enough damage to put anyone down beyond those ranges. So in any case, portability is pretty good on the PP19. I mean, it is a submachine gun, so it should be pretty high. You would expect it to be pretty high anyways. The portability is at an 80 for the PP19. It may not be as fast as other submachine guns, but still, it's pretty up there. I mean, as fast as pretty much every other assault rifle out there anyways. So portability is pretty good. It does what a submachine gun is supposed to do. Rate of fire is on the slower side for submachine guns at 82. The reason being is that maybe Nexon intended this to be like a counterbalance to the fact that the PP19 is pretty strong at close range and the fact that it has a 65 round magazine. So I'm okay with that, because if the rate of fire is too fast, the high recoil on the PP19 will make it too uncontrollable. So I actually do agree with Nexon's rating of the PP19 in terms of rate of fire, because if it was too high, then it'd be totally out of control. Accuracy. The accuracy, even though it doesn't really matter too much on some machine guns, is at a 70, so it is pretty accurate. To me, it doesn't really matter too much because of the recoil on the PP19. The recoil tends to throw the bullet patterns, the bullet pattern and the bullets themselves to be not so accurate at pretty much ranges beyond middle range. So accuracy, I don't think you need to worry about it as long as you stick to close range or something like that. So yeah. Recoil. So here's where the PP19's main con lies. The recoil is pretty high at 75. Maybe this could possibly be the heaviest recoil, the one submachine gun with the heaviest recoil in combat arms. I'm not too sure. I could be pulling that out of my ass right now, but I have a feeling that it just may be the one submachine gun with the highest recoil in combat arms, because as of all my submachine gun reviews, I have yet to see actually. I think there may be an NX standard submachine gun that may have a higher recoil than that. Maybe I don't know. I might be pulling that out of my ass as well. But anyways, it's still pretty high. The recoil on the PP19 is very high indeed. Okay, sorry about that pause in the video there, but in any case, moving on to the recoil, I believe I covered the recoil statistic. The recoil spread. The recoil spread on the PP19 is pretty large, and that's the main drawback of the high 75 recoil on the PP19. The recoil spread can get pretty large, especially if you spray for an elongated amount of time, if that makes any sense at all. So that's why the PP19 is mainly reserved for, or I would suggest you guys mainly reserve the PP19 for, you know, close quarters combat, because the spread, especially because the PP19 is meant for like an how should I say this? It's meant to deal with a lot of people at once, obviously because of its very, very large 65 round magazine. Because of that, however, the recoil spread will get very large, and if you try to use it beyond middle range, you're not going to hit a damn thing unless you get like a lucky lotto or something. So that is why, that's how the recoil spread works on the PP19. It will spread out larger than what is comfortable with you, and you basically have to let the recoil settle down for a little bit before you can use it again effectively. So that's just a little bit of warning for the recoil spread. Now the recoil kickback. The recoil kickback is actually pretty big on that front as well. So the 75 recoil isn't lying, that's for sure. But anyways, the kickback on the recoil the kickback on the PP19 can also get out of hand pretty easily. I mean, it's pretty steady. It's not like as wild and as uncontrollable as other submachine guns, but it's still pretty heavy. Like per shot, you can notice your PP19 kickback in your hands. So that's what I mean by the fact that the PP19 has a pretty high recoil kickback. So it may throw off your aim, so be careful of that. Overall, the recoil controllability on the PP19 is overall, I would classify it as one of the easier submachine guns to control the recoil with, because of the fact that it has a low rate of fire, or a lower rate of fire than do other submachine guns. You can easily control the rate of fire on the PP19. You can even burst fire with it if need be. And yeah, as long as you burst fire or make sure to, you know, let your recoil spread settle back down to you know, its original spreads, then you should have no problem. Tapfire Ability. Well, I just covered that right now, even though you may not want, I mean, it may not be the best idea to tapfire with the PP19. You can still do it. However, if you're going to tapfire, I do not recommend you use it with the scope, because the in-scope recoil on the PP19, it just kicks up way too much. Same with the PP19 mod, and same with the PP19 mod cam. I will mention the tapfire ability on those guns, or those variants as well. But you do not want to tapfire with a scope, looking down a scope. If you need to tapfire, just tapfire while hip firing. That's the way to go, because you have a much better chance of hitting your target like that. I mean, sure, you got a scope, but the recoil kickback is way too high, and you can tapfire a lot faster than you would while scoping out if you were just hip firing. So that's why I do not recommend a scope with the PP19. The recoil is just too high for the PP19 to manage while scoped in with any kind of sight. Sprint Drawback. Sprint Drawback is moderately fast. I mean, it is a submachine gun, so you would expect it to be pretty fast on the Sprint Drawback front. Draw Speed. Draw Speed is relatively fast as well. I mean, to me, it feels like it has a pretty fast draw speed. So I don't know about you guys, but that's just what I think. Center Speed. The center speed is slower than it is on other submachine guns. It may be average, I don't know, but it just feels like, to counterbalance the fact that the PP19 is a more heavy-hitting submachine gun, I feel like. I mean, its muzzle noise may be the reason why I feel like it's more powerful, but that could just be me being weird. But the in any case, the center speed is on the slower side for me anyway of some machine guns. So I could be totally wrong with that on that front, but that's just what I feel. Let's see, reload speed. Reload speed, surprisingly enough, for a 65 round magazine, is very fast, and the reason for that is because of the fact that it has a helical magazine. So the PP19 is a pretty unique submachine gun in terms of its gun design and gun frame layout. So the magazine is actually attached to the bottom of the barrel. I don't really know the exact, mechanics of how the magazine works, but it does seem like it is a very easy to reload kind of magazine. So that may be why the reload speed is very fast on the PP19. In relation to its ammo capacity anyway. Moving on to the fire modes, the PP19 is only available in one fire mode, and that is fully automatic only. In terms of luck, the PP19, yeah, it is very lucky. I shouldn't say very, but it is pretty lucky. I mean, you got 65 rounds. I mean, if you're spraying at someone or at a group of people, chances are at least one of them will be a headshot. So yeah, I would say that the PP19 is pretty lucky. Moving on to the ammo capacity. Like I kept mentioning before, the PP19's main strength lies in the fact that it has more ammo than any other submachine gun, probably any other standard weapon like assault rifle or submachine gun, than any other weapon in combat arms. There was a time when the PP19 was released that there was a glitch that you could actually put an extended mag 2 on the PP19, so people would be running around with 80 over 50 bullets in their magazine, and it was just hell. But anyways, Nexon has patched it pretty much immediately after that glitch happened, so you can't really go around with 80 bullets in your magazine anymore. So yeah, good old days. So at the time, funnily enough, I didn't know you could do that, because I was like, oh, 65 bullets, there's no way you can put an XM mag in this, because the PP90, you can't do that on the P90, and I picked up someone else, like, oh, you actually can. But when I tried it again, Nexon already patched it by then, so funny stories. Anyways, so that's its ammo capacity. Key physical characteristics, it's got a foldable buttstock, and it almost looks like a machine pistol. That's just my honest opinion. It looks like a machine pistol. It's got a very short muzzle. Like I mentioned before, the magazine is located on the underside of the barrel, where your left hand would be if you're right-handed, and yeah, it just feels like a very compact submachine gun. Although on your HUD it does take up a little bit of space, or more space than other weapons, that is. Moving on to the muzzle noise. The muzzle noise is a very loud and high frequency. It's like sandpaper scratching together. I know I've made that analogy lots of times before, but that's just what I honestly feel it to sound like. It just sounds very grating on the ears. So if you guys haven't heard it, then it's pretty unique. If you hear something going blam blam blam, no, it doesn't. That's not what it sounds like. Trust me. But if you hear something like a really grating noise and that's really loud across jungfully, then so yeah, someone's probably using a PP90. Attachment options. You cannot attach an extended magazine for obvious reasons, but you can attach suppressors and scopes if you so choose to. I recommend neither, because like I've already mentioned why I don't agree with scopes on the PP19, and the suppressor will take away 10% of your damage. So it will, like I mentioned before, I have that kind of a damage drop-off problem with the PP19. So me adding that suppressor is just gonna make it worse. So I just say nah, just forget about it. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Fireteam worthy. For some machine gun, I would say it's pretty fireteam worthy, no matter what kind of fireteam you're playing, because of its very high, relatively high DPS, and the fact that it has large magazines. So it may save your life, especially if you're going up against hordes of zombies. I mean, a 65 round magazine could save your life. I don't know, but it might. It just might. Let's see. Quarantine worthy. I would say for the amount of ammo that it holds, yes, it is pretty quarantine worthy. And because it is a submachine gun, I mean, it's not too slow. I mean, it could use a little bit of work on the portability front in comparison to, like, the Scorpion or the Chris. But just for its ammo capacity alone, I would say it's pretty worth it, because I mean, you got 65 bullets. That's potentially a long time that you could hold off zombies with, while you're holding down the front, or you're just trying free run or something like that. So there you go. In my opinion, anyway. I'm a total quarantine noob. You guys could be like, Asian, nah. The P19 sucks in quarantine, but that's just your opinion. Before we get into frank personal opinions, I almost forgot about this. Some of them is 24/7, but the PP19 is able to be customized. However, it can only be customized in its trigger. You cannot customize its damage nor the accuracy. You can only customize the trigger, I believe. So, yeah, I think that's the only thing you even can customize it. I could be totally wrong about this, but because it has been some time since I last used a PP19 customized. But I do believe you can only customize its trigger, so which increases its rate of fire. Honestly, though, it's not worth it because I mean it already has a relative. For a submachine gun, it's got a relatively slow rate of fire, but it still fires pretty fast. And putting that trigger customization on it doesn't feel like it helps out a lot. So I mean, you could slap it on and say no, it helps a lot, but for me anyway, in my experiences with it, it doesn't help too much. So I don't recommend that you customize your PP19 at all. I mean, you can only customize it in terms of its rate of fire anyway. So with my recommendation, you just need to buy the PP19 and that's it. Just need to use it by itself. And yeah, that's about it. And on my frank personal opinions, the PP19 is indeed one of my favorite submachine gun families in combat arms, just because of the fact that it has a massive 65-round magazine, and it's just like my go-to accolade, my accolade submachine gun. I mean, the Scorpions are good, but then they just run out of bullets way too fast, and I mean, and the reload speed on the dual Scorpions isn't exactly fast either. So the PP19 is the go-to accolades class for me anyway, because I mean, it's got a decent rate of fire, decent damage, and it's got a 65-round magazine. I mean, how could you go wrong with that? So, in any case, those are my thoughts on the PP19. Excellent submachine gun, very, very good. And if you are Command Sergeant Major 1, if you haven't tried it out, or if you're a new Command Sergeant Major 1, then pick up the PP19 now. You will not regret it. Hopefully, anyway, as long as you use it well. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching this review on the PP19. My name is Asian Psycho, aka Sniper98, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. And in the next episode, we're going to be taking a look at the GP Rare variant of the PP19 family, the PP19 Camo. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys later. ゆっくりしてってね。